how can Chemstations help accelerate the development of new materials? No pressure.
No pressure. So to put this in perspective, ChemCat is used at over 500 industrial organizations around the world, used for teaching in over 200 academic institutions around the world. So you can imagine that we have thousands of conversations with our clients in total in any given year. And so we see every style of organization and how they apply these types of innovative procedures. And I would say that in general, the most successful ones, we don't get involved in the materials property discussions. The materials properties are solved at more of a chemistry level. But once the material properties have been decided and there are actual chemicals to be manufactured, that screening process of taking say a new greenfield chemical to a new greenfield pilot to an actual full-scale production, the most successful ones will involve a product like ours, a process simulation tool, to start with the R&D team, where the R&D team is actually using a process simulator to define chemistries, to define physical properties, to look at potential pathways, but effectively modeling it at the lab scale. They'll hand that work over to a piloting group. So they've already screened at one level. And it's not throwing it over a wall, a bunch of paper, to the next group. That pilot plan actually gets actual data that was generated in the same tool, and they will then do pilot screenings and directed lab experiments and pilot scale studies that reduce the number and amount of time it takes to then go to full-scale production, so that as they go through the scale-up, again, using the same tool, all of the reactions have been defined, all the physical properties have been defined, and you're just moving from lab scale to pilot scale to full-scale production. So it's a seamless operation. That's how it's done best. It's rare. It's very rare. But what we try to provide is a tool that is able to help an organization think in terms of going from stage to stage in a single environment, because we've seen it done the other way, and it takes longer, and the returns aren't as good. So that's where we try to position ourselves as providing a tool that is as easy to use as possible. So a chemist who doesn't necessarily really know what enthalpy means, right? They understand internal energy, but maybe not enthalpy, as well as an engineer. But they can use the tool, they can design their experiments and model their experiments and hand it over to a pilot group who's more comfortable with a flow sheeting environment like ours. And then scale up is something that most engineers in innovative organizations are comfortable with. So it's a smooth procedure for them. So that's
the best practice.
Best practice.
What is the as-is case, right? Like,
yeah.
Is it like a lot of siloed teams using?
It is absolutely. It's probably the baseline of what we see most often is a very siloed, difficult to transfer knowledge from group to group. We've been a participant in several consortia. There's an ISO standard that has been on the table and is actually released, but from what we can tell isn't really used in terms of defining process data for this type of information transfer. And so as a smaller player in the environment, we don't have the ability to push consortia on data standards. We're happy to participate, but we don't have the clout that some of the major players who have the most to gain from those. So it's a little bit concerning to us that it hasn't happened. But yeah, the baseline is very siloed information structures, various disparate tools used in each stage, and far too many experiments, and process screening just takes way too long.